Hi everyone, it's Karen here. Thanks for popping by. I'm going to start this video by saying I know that the last video I made used this very same stamp set, but I just love it. This painted prints stamp set and dies from My Favourite Things are just the best. And the fact that I've now made, I think, 3 cards with this set is tells me that it's a winner in my book because I'm one of these people that often will make 1 card with a stamp set and never go back to it again. So um, this is so easy to use. As you can see, I'm not using a MISTI, I'm just using acrylic blocks to line up the images, and just love it to pieces. So I'm using Altenew inks. I'm building up my collection of My Favourite Things hybrid cubes, but at the moment I don't have enough to give me the layering colours that I need, so I've gone back to my Altenew inks, which do work beautifully for layering stamps. So I'm just inking up a whole lot of different flowers. I'm sticking with the I don't know what you call those flowers, the sort of the rounded shaped flowers. I'm not doing any of the roses for this card, and I am sticking to peaches and pinky shades. Now for the foliage, just for something a bit different, I thought I'd do some mint colours, and stamped up a few leaves using those minty shades. So this video, there's pretty much nothing cut out of it apart from when my head gets in the way or other pointy out bits, which I'm sure you ladies know what I'm talking about. And I've sped it up, of course, but I thought there's nothing spectacular about this video. There's no wonderful hints and tricks. It's just making a card. So have a watch if you feel like it, and just sit back and relax. So I have die cut some square scallop frames out of a pale grey cardstock, which is cement grey from My Favourite Things, and I'm just arranging the flowers within that frame to try and contain them as much as possible. So I'm using the pinks and the peachy shades, and once I get the arrangement how I like it, I'm going to use some press and seal to hold it together, and then for the second frame I'm going to alternate the colours of the flowers. So it's a very similar looking arrangement, but the flower colours are the reverse of the first arrangement. So I'm just sorting out how I want it, trying to keep it within that frame, although anything that does go out of that frame I will snip off. Once I'm happy with it, I get the press and seal, and as I said in my recent video, I just reuse that stuff. Just cut off little squares and just reuse it until it starts looking a bit manky, and then I'll chuck it away and cut off another square. So that's the first little arrangement. So here's the second one, and you can see that where I had peach before, I'm putting pink and vice versa. And just getting that how I like it. It doesn't end up perfect, but it's close enough at first glance that you would think it's a exact match. So putting in those last couple of leaves, and get the frame and check that it's going to fit, and then keep it all together with the press and seal. So I put that to one side, put both of those out of the way while I put some foam tape on the frame. So I have to cut that really thin, and excuse my head, just frame around all 4 sides of both of those frames. I think actually these are the first time I've used those frames. They're actually really pretty. I have far too many supplies and really should start using them instead of buying them. But I think half of the fun of this hobby is actually collecting. And I keep telling myself that I'm buying now while I'm working so that when I retire and don't have the same income, I'll have all the supplies I need. But I think the reality is I could probably live to 150 and still not run out of supplies. But hey, it's not hurting anyone and it's helping the economy. Is that a really good justification? I think so. So finishing up with this frame. Just checking that it fits again. I don't know why I did that because nothing moved, but there you go. Thinking. Snip off, this is where I snip off the little bits that are going to hang out the side. And put that frame back on to check that it all fits nicely. Do the same with the second one. That's where this press and seal is fabulous because you can just pull little bits away and it holds the rest of it in place. Love that stuff. And it's even better because you can buy it at the supermarket and it's included as part of your groceries. So it's not even crafting supplies really. So now I've got a white card base and I'm just positioning everything onto that so that I can work out where my sentiment's going to go. I did have intentions of stamping the sentiment in between those two frames, but as you'll see in a minute, it did not fit. So I had to come up with plan B, and plan B was to stamp it on a vertical down the side of that bottom frame. So this is where I keep the press and seal stuck at the top where I want the flowers to sit, and then I just add some liquid glue to the flower so that when I put it back down again, they're going to stay in that spot that I wanted them to stay in. And I'm going to do the same with the top ones. I just peel them back and you can see that they don't move from their position. Put dots of glue, and I'm still using that Gina K Connect glue, and I've got used to it coming out a bit faster and thicker than the multi-matte medium. So I actually am quite enjoying it. And on that note, here in New Zealand we don't say multi, we say multi, but because I've watched so many videos of American craft makers talking about multi-matte medium, I just say it like that now. It just comes to me naturally. So my apologies to all of the down under people who say multi. I say multi for everything else, but not when I'm referring to that glue. The way we're conditioned, eh? So now I'm peeling off the press and seal and adding little touches of glue where it didn't stick quite securely enough. And bringing those frames back. This is the bit where I try and fit that sentiment in between the frames, but it's not going to fit and look nice. So plan B to the rescue. Yeah, nah, not going to work. No. So there she goes. She's going to go down the bottom vertically. Now that sentiment actually says with sympathy, because I'm making a sympathy card. I thought the soft colours and the pale grey of the frame suited a sympathy card quite nicely, so that's the direction I went. Now I'm just lining that up in my MISTI. I'm not game to stamp sentiment without my MISTI anymore. How things change. We used to all the time and just hope for the best, but now I have to use that stamp positioner for any sentiments. So just stamping that on lightly. Don't press too hard because you don't want those letters to spread out any. I only needed one inking, which was good. Put the stamp back in its packet. That comes from the Essential Sentiments stamp set by My Favourite Things, which has got so many cool sentiments, and they're just nice plain font, nothing fancy about it. So I only got that set this week, and I think it's already been used twice, so it's going to be another keeper for sure. So excuse the head, just positioning that frame where it needs to be, taking off the foam tape liner for the top frame and putting that in place. Head in the way again, sorry. Hey, but at least you can't see any greys. And final touches are a couple of Nuvo gel drops on either side of the sentiment, and I can't tell you what colour I used. It was the rosy colour. I just squeeze it off to make sure it's going to squeeze out properly either side of the sentiment. And both of them had a little bit of a point on them, so I flicked my fingernails from underneath the card to try and flatten that out a bit. And that's my card. So thank you so much for joining me and listening to my rabbiting on, and I'll see you next time.